focus a little bit on careers. It's the million dollar question, right? How do you choose a career? And everybody's different. It's the million dollar question. Is it what you love to do and that you're passionate about? For example, if you love animals, perhaps you want to be a vet, right? Is it about money and prestige? Well, then maybe something like a doctor or a lawyer that make good money and seem to be very prestigious. Is it, I'm very good in math and I love building things, and then perhaps an engineering field is where your aptitude lies. Or maybe it's fulfilling a dream, right? I want to own my own business. Okay, well, of course, what business would that be? And then, of course, you have to develop, some business savvy. Okay, everybody is triggered in different ways by different things, so it's not simple. So you got to look at multiple factors, and you must be extremely honest with yourself. 3 months of my internship felt like a prison sentence. He discovered that he absolutely would not want to do what he thought he wanted to do, and that's a good outcome. It's better to figure that out while you're an intern than after you've graduated and you've gone to work for a company only then to discover that it's not what you want. So we're trying to avoid that. And so the point here is there's a little bit of a difference between expectations based on what you think something will be like and the reality of what that job is. And what we're trying to do here with your career project is try to move that expectation and reality a little closer together. So you're making an informed decision, right? And so some examples, I think some of these are kind of funny, is working from home, right? Everybody thinks this would be a great thing, and for some it is. But the reality of it may be very different because you're always at work, right? It can be a prison sentence for some. I get a lot of students that want to be marine biologists, and I'm sure their expectation is more on the left, right? They're going to swim with the dolphins, be one with the sea. Reality is it's very limited job opportunities, and so it might be that you're teaching high school science, and nothing wrong with that, but it's just the perception and reality is different. See this all the time, the McDonald's ad on the left and what you're going to get when you go there. Okay, very different things. Love is a classic. You think it's always going to be the left, but in reality, you're going to have some of the issues that are on the right. Some of you guys are, well, all of you are taking at least this class online, and I love the commercials for online classes. They show somebody sitting in their pajamas with a cup of coffee, laptop open, and they're always smiling, right? Are you smiling when you're studying math or studying chemistry or writing papers? No, the reality is a little bit more on the right. It is hard, okay? It is not easy to do an online degree, but many have to because that's the only way they can complete it. So again, try to compress the difference between what you expect your career to be and what the reality of that career is. And the only way you can do that is you've got to do some research. You've got to try, if possible, to get internships and take a look at the field. And if you discover that it isn't what you thought, that's a good outcome. Okay, now would be the time to switch. Okay, so choosing a career involves many steps. The first thing is you got to assess yourself. Everybody has strengths, everybody has weaknesses, everybody has different desires and interests. So you've got to be brutally honest about who you are and what your abilities are. And then you make a list of occupations to explore, and might be surprised when you do research of occupations that you didn't know existed. Every day occupations come into existence and other ones go out of existence. This changes rapidly, so you need to do the research to take a look at what occupations might be of interest. And then, whenever possible, if you can do an informal interview with somebody in that career field, that is great. Do some research. You can call a company in Colombia and go, hey, I'm interested in being a whatever, a mechanical engineer. Is there anybody that I can talk to in your company to talk about what mechanical engineering is about? And I guarantee you, people will be very happy to hook you up with somebody in the profession and find out what it's all about. And you may walk out of there more excited. You may come out of there less excited. When I was in the Navy, I did some recruiting for pilots, And I had many people that came in going, yeah, I want to be a pilot. Well, I happen to have a T-34, a little aerobatic airplane that the Navy gave me to take. Every applicant that wanted to be a pilot had to go up in a T-34. And our job was to take them up, and we looped, spin, we did everything in that airplane. We put them through the ringer, and one of two things happened. When we landed, they were either really excited to be Navy pilots, or they go, uh-uh, mistake. This is not what I expected. And so we kind of eliminate right off the bat the difference between the expectation and reality. But once you've done all this, then hopefully you can make a career choice that you then tie to a major that'll get you to that career. Okay. And you come up with an action plan. Okay. So it's this idea of intentionality. You've got to be intentional. You cannot just let this happen. You've got to be in charge. You're the captain of your life. Okay. And so again, first step is that self-assessment. You've got to be really, really honest with all these different attributes to try to match those with career choices. I'll do a quick case study of me. Okay, my aptitudes. When I was young, I was good in math, loved outdoors, played a lot of sports, loved competition. My interest, I've always loved astronomy. I lived near an Air National Guard base in Pittsburgh, so I was kind of seeing aviation, and I was always fascinated by it. My heroes growing up were the astronauts, right? I grew up in the '60s in the Apollo missions. What I valued was not so much money, but this sense of excitement. I wanted to do something that was different. And my personality was such that I would have been probably pretty bad at being an accountant, right? Nothing against accountants, but I was outgoing. I love sports. I like discipline. And so I just didn't want to be in an office. And again, there's nothing wrong with that that's what you aspire to. I was different. So when I sat down in high school, I just absolutely focused in on I want to be a military pilot and specifically the Navy. And so luckily I got to do that. And so what you're going to do is a little bit of this week is take a look at your aptitudes, interests, what you value, and your personality. In this Venn diagram, you're looking for that sweet spot in the middle and try to ensure that you are hitting that sweet spot as best as you can with your career choice. Okay, we're also talking a little bit about plan Bs, right? Do you need a plan B? Absolutely. Everybody needs a plan B. That doesn't mean that you're going to give up on your career, but stuff happens. For example, in STEM, about 50% that start in the STEM program don't get the degree, often because it's just not what they expect, or the rigor of the degree is maybe more than somebody is prepared to handle. Many of my students are seeking competitive advanced degrees. They want to go to med school, they want to be a veterinarian, they want to go to pharmacy school, and it is very difficult to get into these. So what are you going to do if you don't get into one of those? You got to have a plan B, right? And a lot of times it's the old oops, this isn't what I thought. I've had a lot of students 3 years into an engineering degree, and they go, man, this is not what I expected. I get a lot of students that like to play computer games, and so they figure, well, I'll be a computer programmer or a software developer. But writing the code for programs is a very different animal than playing games, right? So you may discover this is not for you. So you do need to have a plan B. For me, I had plan A, B, and C. My primary plan was my passion. I wanted to fly. But there's a lot of obstacles in the way that if I busted an eye exam or a physical, over. So my plan B was my major, right? I was a computer science major, so I was focused on getting good grades. I was going to do some internships and so forth. I was back in the day when Bill Gates and Steve Jobs were in college, same time I was. Okay, so computer science was a great field to be in at that point, and I would have been happy to do that. But I had Plan C. I loved coaching. I mean, I love sports, so I thought maybe I could teach and coach. So I had three possibilities. Luckily I got my Plan A, but I was prepared for Plan B and C, and so should you. Okay. And so, for example, if you're interested in the computing field, but there's a lot of ways that you can use your computing interest in different fields. Okay, so again, try to marry up your interests um, with a field that maybe a plan B you could pivot to, right? Um, so you're going to explore that. You should know as part of this career project your career characteristics. What are the employment opportunities? I'll be honest, many of my students want to be coders, to be programmers, and in the last year with the advent of I got to be honest, being a programmer may be a difficult career. There's a lot of people losing their jobs because of AI. AI can now write code, right? So you got to look at these kinds of things. What does the future hold for my career path? What kind of money can I make? You shouldn't be surprised at what the salaries will be. What are the education requirements? Do I get an associate's degree? Do I get a bachelor's? Do I need to get a master's to be competitive? And what's the working environment and so forth? One of the videos you're going to watch is this young lady, Jennifer, one of my math students, third time in college. You need to listen to her story a little bit about how she finally focused on what it is that I want to do that made her a very serious student. And I'm sure at this point she is a highly successful teacher. Okay, so don't let life be a series of moments you'd like to do over. You don't really get a lot of do-overs. Okay, so make a smart choice now, if at all possible. Okay, so focus on this career uh, project. Be honest with yourself, and I look forward to hearing what you guys have to write this week. Okay, have a good one.